2 years we had Raaz 3 and the business went to 80. Film that does 80 crores obviously has a lot of audience. 3D definitely has been something that I've been championing in this industry and nobody else has. Every filmmaker now has a kind of film, like Hate Story or 1920 Evil Returns. These are the films that did really well. So my new film Creature, that starts in May, is a different film. The fact that we are now doing a lot of synergies. So we have 3 films with T-Series and we have a couple of films with Reliance. We have one with Mr. Dhanraj, that's Ankur Arora murder case. The thing about Horror Story is that Horror Story actually is a different franchise because it's for the teenagers. We don't have these what Hollywood calls date flicks or date movies. There has been a section of the audience that has been craving for a different kind of horror. They don't want the song and dance and the romance, and they just want the pure horror, from the beginning to the end. And then Haunted, of course, is a 3D franchise, so that's completely different. We've done that right from 1920, the first part, whether it was Rajneesh or Radha. As a matter of fact, I have done that right from Fareb, so for me it's not anything new. But I think there's some films that rely on the concept and they can afford the new faces. There's some films that, of course, need the star. Well, it's better to be a specialist at something than to be a specialist at nothing. Like they say, jack of all, master of none. So it's better to be master of one. But my new film, Creature, that starts in May, is a different film. It's not horror. It's India's first creature feature, wherein Hollywood has done a lot of creature features like Jaws or Anaconda or Jurassic Park, but we've never had a film like that in India. This is, to my mind, going to be a trendsetter, and the kind of work we are putting in, the special effects in creating the creature, I think it's going to be something to watch out for. I mean, look at last year, for instance. We had films, we had big star cast films not doing well, and then we had a Kahani or an Oh My God or an English, all these films. They were the underdog films, or our films, for instance, like Hate Story or 1920 Evil Returns. These are the films that did really well. So I think the audience gets the taste of their star in many avenues these days. They don't have to go to the theatre. You can get to see the star on TV or on YouTube or in supplements of every newspaper. So you're not starved out of seeing the star. You can just go on YouTube and see a song. So people now, I think, want to come and see a good film. They want to hear, or as a matter of fact, experience a new story. And what better time for filmmakers than this? I mean, at first I think we used to get marks for being prolific. So we did Gulam and Kasoor and Awara Pagal Deewana and all this kind of mixed bag. But I think the time has come for not only me, but for every filmmaker to have a kind of a brand. Every filmmaker now has a kind of film. So comedy filmmakers have a comedy kind of film name. Or in the days of expensive tickets, they want to know what they're known for before they spend for the ticket. Well, I mean, I have done a lot of work in 3D now. It's already 3 films old, and Creature is again in 3D, and we might even go IMAX. So 3D definitely has been something that I've been championing in this industry and nobody else has. ABCD is perhaps one film, the others have just been converts. I still don't see a mad rush of filmmakers going towards 3D other than me. Perhaps I think the cost is daunting, or just the fact that they have to learn the craft all over again. But I think for every filmmaker, there's a constant process of learning and unlearning and inventing and reinventing yourself. And that's perhaps, to answer your question, is where there was a director and then there's a reinvention in terms of a horror film director, and then now there's going to be a reinvention again in terms of a filmmaker who makes films like Creature, for instance. If I see in my career, let's leave out Raaz 1, which was a phenomenon. But if you take 1920, part 1, then the business was something like 12 crores. And then the next one we made, which is Haunted, and the business went to 28 crores. which is more than double. And then in 2 years we had Raaz 3 and the business went to 80. So a film that does 80 crores obviously has a lot of audience. Horror films now do have an audience, as opposed to earlier, which they were known to be B movies or stars didn't do it. But horror is in. We're definitely doing this film Ankur Arora murder case, which is completely different from what we've done. It's a film on medical negligence. It's a film, very emotional film, courtroom drama. Something that our production house has not really, made as yet. Then we have a film called Bhaag, which we're doing in unison with T-Series, and that film is, again, what I would call, for the lack of any better term, it's more of a spiritual thriller. In which there are choices that one has to make in life, and extremely new. And so whilst we are selling our old wares, we are also manufacturing new ones.